Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Crypto Analyst here, and I hope all of you guys are having a good morning, evening, wherever you guys are from. Welcome back to the Crypto Analyst live stream, where we go over everything cryptocurrency and blockchain related, do some technical analysis, and talk about the important things that are happening in the market right now. So today we're going to be going through, of course, technical analysis of Bitcoin and taking your guys' requests on what you guys want me to talk about and what charts you guys want me to look at and analyze, so I can give my personal opinion and really my personal thoughts on what's happening in those specific markets and get my feedback on it. So today we're going to be going into a plethora of things. One thing that we do have coming up is a giveaway. I'm actually going to be doing a giveaway where people bet on really when the Golden Cross is going to happen. It's going to have to be a specific date, but I think I'm going to give away some cryptocurrency for it for the person who does manage to get it right. And above that, we just hit 5,000 subscribers, so that's another reason kind of for doing a giveaway of sorts. So I'm not completely sure on what it's going to be yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to make it some sort of Bitcoin, unless I can get a sponsor for the video or something along those lines, where we can actually get out some really cool stuff. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get this link out to everyone, just like we start off these other normal streams, and we can go ahead and get the show on the road. So welcome to everyone who's just tuning in right now. I was basically just talking about a couple of the starter things to kick this off, and I'll bring it back up once the video is rolling here. But I do need to go ahead and send this out to everyone that's wants the notification, and then we'll be good to go. And there we're good. Awesome. So what's up, everybody? I can see chat now. Yo, AD, what's up? Great to have you in here. Sure everything's working right here. I think so. What's up, AD? Great to have you, my man. Let me go ahead and also resize this just a little bit. We're going to be starting this off on the 4 hour, just like everything else. The 4 hour, as you guys probably know by now, it is my favorite time scale, and this rising wedge is absolutely beautiful. Don't worry, AD, we're actually going to be doing a poll for this. I'll be doing it on my, I think I'll be doing it on the Create a Post. So I'll send out a discussion. I'm going to move up this mic just a little bit. I'll be sending out really a kind of like a push notification. You'll see it on YouTube. It'll come up and it'll basically be saying, hey, this is where you respond to, and this is what the deal is. I'll explain all the details in the YouTube comment thing that I drop, and then I'll have everybody reply to that with a date. And so to everyone who replies to that, that's essentially going to be your entry. I might also do it in Patreon, or not in Patreon, in Discord as well. Because I have a lot of people who are really active in Discord. So I'll probably do one poll on YouTube and one poll, and maybe like a poll on like Twitter or Instagram or something like that. I don't really know how I'm going to do it yet. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it through YouTube and through Discord. And we'll see. So it's going to be pretty cool. So welcome everybody who's just now joining. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin and what's happening over here. And I do have a couple of announcements that I need to make once everyone starts getting in here. I do realize that it is a Friday night at, well, roughly 9 p.m. Eastern time. So probably not prime time for a lot of people to be wanting to look at charts. People are probably getting off work and probably want to go out, especially because it's Easter. My Twitter handle should be down in the description down below. Oh, it's not. Interesting. None of my stuff is. I'll tell you what, let me fix that real fast. Huh. There we go. Okay, I just updated it, so it should be in there now. Awesome. Perfect. So to go ahead and get talking about at least a little bit of technical analysis as people are joining here, I do want to go ahead and kind of at least circle in this guy. And something that we're going to be doing on today's stream is doing our technical analysis like we normally do on Bitcoin. But a thing that I want to kind of focus on this stream is once we get Bitcoin done and looked at, we're going to be coming back to it just like normal and really poking at it and see what's happening with it, because it is, pretty close to either breaking out or breaking down of this rising wedge. And I do want to go ahead and tell my targets about that once we get a couple more people in the chat room, because, we did just go live. But besides talking about my targets and what I believe is going to happen on Bitcoin here, I also want to talk about a lot of the altcoins. So I'm going to be looking at a lot of the altcoins because seemingly there are a lot of lower market cap altcoins that are at phenomenal prices. And this is something I was going over with the Patreons today, is really just the potential of swing trade on some of the lower market cap altcoins and how insane how much money there is to be made in some of those coins. I think one of the most notable of those was Ravencoin. I think it was such a low market cap coin that I had on my radar for so long, and it was just a pile of potential. And if you go and look at the Ravencoin chart now, it's pretty self-explanatory. With just how beaten down it was, with so much of a potential, it was an absolute great cryptocurrency. There's really no reason for it to just be beaten down this far for what it could be in, say, a year or 2 years' time. And of course, this thing absolutely has been taking off towards the moon recently, and you can see that over here. Saw a nice retracement, and now today it's just taken off all over again. And there was just so much money to be made here, but there's plenty other of coins like Ravencoin where they're at this zone, like right down in here. And there's so many other of them, and that's kind of what I was talking to the Patreons about today, is just basically I was showing them like 1 or 2 or 3 charts of potential things that I'm actually looking into trading and buying as a lower market cap altcoin, because that's exactly what Ravencoin was. How can I get a 10 to 15 minute phone call with you? I don't do phone calls, but I do. I'm trying. So right now I'm in the process of setting up one-on-one appointments. I guess it would depend on what the phone call would be about. If you want it to be like a one-on-one for educational purposes, then we could probably set that up. But if you want to do it for like business, for more of like business opportunity and business purposes, you can go ahead and send an email, which should be on my channel, and if not, and if you need it and you can't find it, it should be under the about section. But if you can't find it, then I'll happily send it over to you. So basically, Ravencoin was one of the ones that I was talking about for a while. This is one that I got in around, I'd been really noticing since, when was it? I want to say it was March of 2018. And March and April, I was mining it a ton every single day. I will pay for it. I just need advice on the approaching market. So one of the things is I can't give you financial advice. I can give you my own opinion. I can help teach you. I can't tell you this is what you need to invest in. That's one of the rules of this, is that I can't tell anyone what to invest in, what to buy, how to spend their money. That requires a special license that I don't have. And I'm not sure I'm ever going to get that license. Maybe in the future, but I don't really see the need for it right now. I love helping people, right? I love helping people. But one of the things that I have to be careful about with what I do is I have to watch my mouth, because I really can't tell people what to spend their money on. Everything I do in here is all really my mindset. It's not me saying you need to do this and you need to do that. It's saying I'm doing this, I'm looking at that, and essentially kind of pushing around that idea. Hopefully that makes some sense. But going back to Bitcoin here, let's go ahead and talk about this a little bit. So yeah, I think you know what I'm talking about. So I would love to be able to kind of like just talk to you about whatever, but I can't tell you how to spend your money. That's essentially what it comes down to. I did that with a Patreon the other day. He was like, hey, can you look at my portfolio? I said, absolutely. I kind of gave him my thoughts on it. I wasn't like, you need to sell this, you need to get rid of this, you need to be buying this. I said, well, I do own these coins. I don't own these coins. I don't like these. And I kind of just broke it down with him. And I wasn't like, you need to ditch this. I just kind of, I gave him my thoughts as if it was my portfolio. And I didn't tell him what to buy, what to sell. I just, told him what I liked, what I didn't like, kind of. So I danced that line. But talking about Bitcoin here, let's go ahead and break this down, because we've mumbo-jumbled a lot in here right now. So with Bitcoin and what's happening over here in this range, essentially what I see here is a giant rising wedge, with the RSI seeing lower highs for the time being, which I don't think is necessarily a good thing. But for the most part, your RSI is still on a level that's really nothing too bearish. It's at a 60, and so I wouldn't consider this any area where I would want to short. I wouldn't consider this, especially an area that I would want to long. But with this forming over here, everyone's so focused, and I can't get my mind around it. What's up, Andrew? Great to have you. I can't get my mind around it why people want to be trading this zone. And I don't mean that in a mean way, but there are zones, there are times to trade and there are times not to trade. And one of the best ways I've ever heard that is that there's times to make money and there's times not to lose money. So I don't see like minimizing my risk. So either I make money or I don't lose money. I do not take losing money as even an option. It's either you break even, you don't trade, or you make money. I don't take losing as an option. I think it's a bad thing to have in your mindset, because if you go into the trade with the idea, not saying that you're like going arrogant and you're like, I could never lose this, and you just buy in. It's not like that. It's being strategic and smart, being like, all right, well, if you're trading off of, and this is another really big thing, guys, if you trade off probabilities instead of trading off of money, then your trades are going to be more intelligent. And what I mean by that is so many people go into the trade and they say, and let me draw this up because this is literally one of the best things some of the best advice I can ever give someone. So if I go into this and over here, I get like statistic probabilities and stuff throughout doing this kind of deal. And if I'm going into this and saying, all right, well, I'm going to be going in at Bitcoin at 10x leverage, and every $500 Bitcoin moves is 100%. So if we get an entry in here and I have my stop loss here, well, then I could be making, 60%, which could, and say you're trading like a whole Bitcoin, I could be making 0.6 Bitcoin if this trade goes through all the way and I'm end up getting 60% because I'm on 10x leverage. Then I could be making like $3,000 here, and that sounds really good. But what that does is that starts getting into your mind and creating this bias that, all right, well, I need to make that money. I want to make that money. By seeing the money instead of the percent of your odds versus winning and losing, you put yourself at a disadvantage by allowing bias on your trade. And so if you're going into this trade not because of you wanting to make money and not because of you wanting to like complete the trade, but you're going into this trade for the sole reason of it is the statistic most probable outcome of it moving in any direction, then if you go into that with that mindset on every single trade, you are more inclined to win, because you're not betting on wanting to make money. You're not betting on wanting to do anything. You're betting on the highest probable statistic outcome of this thing moving in any direction. You're not worried about making, again, the whole thing is you're getting the best risk versus reward possible and all this stuff. So when you're going into trades, again, I can't stress that enough. I talk to so many people. Don't worry. The money will come if you follow the statistics and the probabilities behind trading. So many people trade for the complete wrong reason. They push aside the statistics of the trade and they worry about the money aspect and said, oh, well, I'm already up $50. I'm just going to exit now. Or I'm already down $50, so I'm just going to exit now before I lose more. But the thing is still, they don't care about the statistics and what is really going on here. One of the biggest things I always tell people is, why are you entering into a trade? You should never be like, I think it's going to go long. And this is another thing so this was just a conversation I was having with someone in Discord. Excuse me, in Discord. Trades don't care about your feelings. You can say, I think it's going to go up, or I feel like it's going to go up. And what one of my mentors taught me is that it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you feel. The trades don't care about what you think or feel. And when I was told that, I got really offended. I was like, dude, why are you being kind of a dick about this? And then the more I thought about it, I was like, he's right. Like that, the trades, nothing in here cares about what I feel or think or anything. All it cares about is what it's going to do and what it's statistically inclined to do. Does that mean that it can't be manipulated? No, it can still be manipulated, and it doesn't mean it's always going to go your way. But if you're trading without emotions, without thinking about the money involved, and trading specifically off of statistics and probabilities and what's actually happening here through divergence and formation patterns and historical analysis, you will be way more. That is single-handedly the biggest thing that has ever helped me as a trader. Forget about the money. Literally go off of divergence and statistics and all that. So with that being said, let's go ahead and break this down. So basically the whole reason for that rant was because my whole idea and mentality up here. Someone came into the last stream and they were like, well, I know all these experts and they're all, astonished that Bitcoin's moving the wrong way right now and that it's still up here and that it's not going down or that it's not going up. And basically, the thing is that they're not stupid experts. They're smart people, but they shouldn't be trading in this area, and that's something that I think is probably not easy to recognize. Easy for someone like me to recognize because I'm experienced in this, but it's not easy for a lot of people, and a lot of people don't have the self-control. So my biggest thing is, why in the world would I trade in here? Yes, potentially there is a shorting opportunity, but the MACD tells me absolutely nothing. The MACD, if you guys know how to read the MACD, this is an absolute mess. Like, this is just an absolute crap show. That is probably the worst I've seen the MACD in a long time. Not to say that it's unhealthy, but it just says absolutely nothing. And the RSI is doing the exact same thing. The RSI, since probably the beginning of this month, has not said anything. And we're almost 20 days into the month, and I would say probably close to the last 15, 20 days, this has said absolutely nothing as well. So what happens when your indicators are saying nothing? You're in a giant bear flag, but you move over to your daily and it says the exact opposite of a bear flag, and in fact this says a golden cross. The answer for that, in my opinion, and what I'm doing, is to just simply not trade. Because if you're having two completely conflicting, huge, I would say giant conflicting indicators, one being a huge bear flag that's been in play for the entirety of all of this month, and then you have a golden cross on your daily chart. Those are two major trend-setting indicators that are pointing opposite ways. And on top of that, your MACD and your RSI are saying absolutely nothing, while your volume is relatively falling off. So you have no idea which way that this wants to break. Your indicators aren't telling you anything. You have a bear flag here, but a very bullish thing that you've only seen twice in the history of Bitcoin on the one day. So is it really worth the risk going in here pretty blind? A lot of people say they know it's going to go up, or they think it's going to go up. But is it really worth going into a trade here? Well, I was talking to, I don't know if you guys are in the Discord. If you guys are in the Discord, you guys probably know Otter or David. I was talking to him about this, and he's like, oh, I don't know if I should short or long. Maybe I'll go back to my roots and short Ethereum. And I said, I'm not trying to tell you to do anything, but what I am telling you is to recognize just how risky of an area this is to trade. And this is something I've talked to the Patreons about a lot. I said, hey guys, I'm not going to be trading as much this month, or at least not until one of these two formations breaks and shows which one's going to be clear, because of just how risky it is. Yes, if you are on the right side of this trade, you are going to make a ton of money. But it's pretty much a gamble. It's almost a 50-50 right now. So if you're going into this and saying, all right, well, it's a bear flag with a rising wedge inside of a bear flag, then you're counter-argumented by the golden cross and a lot of other things. And if you're going into it and saying, well, the indicators are saying the indicators aren't saying anything. So if this is a giant bear flag and this breaks down, you're probably seeing this thing drop to at least 4,700 before it even stops. Well, first of all, it's going to hit the bottom of this bear flag, and then it would probably fall through the bottom of the bear flag to somewhere around here, and then it would probably fall through here back to at least 4,200. But if it breaks out of this bear flag, and if it's golden cross, this thing's, if it's going to be a golden cross, I see this thing going straight to 6,000 and possibly even breaking it if the golden cross is confirmed. So either way, yes, if you gamble on the right side here, you will make a ton of money. But it's a gamble. That's exactly what it is. It's completely unpredictable. And me and Hassam were talking about this in Discord earlier, and he said it really well, and talking about just how basically what Hassam was saying is how all the technicals and the volume and a bunch of other things were showing just how unpredictable and unstable this price range is, and that it's anyone's game. And yes, it's like when you go to a casino and you can bet on either red or black, and that's pretty much like what this range is. You place your trade on either red or black and you hope it goes that way. If it goes that way, you make a ton of money, and if it doesn't, you're probably going to get liquidated. So my whole solution is, yes, I could make a ton of money, but again, I'm not trading off of the money. I'm not trading off of the potential money. It's the whole segment that I just did before this. If you guys didn't watch it, rewind the live stream a little bit afterwards. But you're trading off of statistical probabilities and divergence. I'm not trading off of the potential money to be made. If I'm trading off of divergence and statistical probabilities of what the chart is telling me and risk versus reward analysis, then it would be telling me nothing. It would be telling me not to trade here at all. But a lot of people are trading for a lot of people trade for the money instead of for the statistics and the divergence, and that's why people are entering into trade. I'm not saying that if you enter into a trade, you're doing it for the wrong reasons, but what I am saying is be careful that you're not just entering into a trade with the intention of making money, instead of entering into a trade with the intention of going with the highest probable outcome, because the highest probable outcome in here is just a 50-50 gamble. That's very harshly my opinion. But going into this, let's go ahead and read some comments over here. Sorry, that was a little bit of a rant. Time, what's up, Time Hawk? Andrew, great to have you. AD said looking bullish. On the daily, it is. On the 4 hour, not so much. AD said 4,900 still in the cards? No, I would say not. I don't think so. I think you would probably come to around 5,100 or like 4,750 or something like that. I don't think 4,900's in the cards anymore, unfortunately. That's just my opinion. Technically, how do you all see XRP during hyperinflation? So what do you mean by that? I feel like that's kind of a broad question. JT or J to the K. I saw you. I think you joined the Discord the other day. Welcome, man. Great to have you. So yeah, explain that a little bit further, and I'd love to answer it for you. Crypto Kiwi said, "G'day, Brendan. Hope all is well. Nice to catch you live. Great to have you, Crypto Kiwi. Always a honor having you in here." Ted Strain says, "But what if you are wrong and the pattern really is a massive bull flag?" Well, it's not a bull flag. That's the thing, Ted, is that it actually just can't be a bull flag. And I'll go ahead and show you this and why it can't be a bull flag. It doesn't mean that it can't be bullish, but what it means is that the pattern itself can't be a bull flag. So, where am I typing? All right. So I'll go ahead and show you what a bull flag is, or a bear. Let's go ahead and show you just like, let's go ahead and show you bear versus bull. I can't type. And we'll go ahead and look at this, because this explains it very, very well. So over here, can we like zoom in on this at all? So here, basically this is saying bull flags. Bull flags are the thing up and then sloping down, downward sloping channel. And then a bear flag is a rising sloping channel. So if you have a rising channel, it's automatically deemed a bear flag. And so you can see that like anywhere over here, like if we go to anything. So bull flag over here, sloping, downward sloping channel. Let's go to another one. Bull flag, oh well, that one doesn't show sloping channels. Right here. So where's this one? This is another one. Why is this a bull flag? Because it's a downward sloping channel. Why is this a bear flag? Because it's a rising channel. Rising channels are always bearish. And again, I'm not trying to be harsh over here, but like the reason why this can't be a bull flag is just because it's a rising channel, and rising channels, they're just not inclined to be a bull flag. It's just outside of their nature. So it's not like to be like mean or anything. It's just, a rising channel can't be a bull flag because it's a bearish formation pattern, unfortunately. I wish it could be, because if, I don't really think you can draw this as a bull flag. There's not enough information to yet. You can kind of argue that it's potentially a pennant, and that's something I was talking to Poker Throat about, but for the time being, there's really not enough information to call this a bull flag. I think there's significantly more information calling this a bear flag than a bull flag. But on the 1 day, it looks extremely bullish. Unpredictable weather, better not to go out of your boat. Yeah, so exactly. Like that's pretty much the thing that me and Hassan were talking about earlier, is that it's just so unpredictable. Like why go outside during a hurricane? Or why go outside when it's hailing? Like, yes, you can. So say you're a gardener. Let's use this as an example. So say you're a gardener and you're a botanist, and your whole thing is to work with plants and animals and wildlife or something like that. So you can either, that a hurricane's coming, or a giant winter storm, or whatever, a typhoon, whatever relates to you. This giant storm is coming tomorrow, and it's probably going to last a couple days. but you said, man, if only I could get this stuff done before the storm comes, is it really going to be worth it for you as your job to go out and work in the typhoon or work in the hurricane or work in the hailstorm? Is it really going to be worth it, or is it just more worth it for you to just not go outside and not work for those couple days that it's going to be like that and just let it pass? And then come back afterwards, and then you can do the work, because you'll be way more efficient and effective when it's not in this giant storm if you're going to do your work outside, because you'll be extremely less effective. You'll be blinded by everything that's going on around you and distracted. And so the same exact thing goes for traders. So if you're a trader and you're going in situations like this, which is potentially the most unpredictable of areas of trading, where your indicators have told you nothing and you're neutral, and you're having contradicting readings on your 4-hour and your daily chart, why throw a dart blindly at a board? Why work when the massive storm is going on, instead of just waiting out the storm and going in afterwards when you have the best odds of being successful? And that's the way that I read this. If you had a small money, would you hodl? What do you mean? So if I only had a little bit of money invested into the trade, or if I only had a little bit of money invested in the cryptocurrency? So like if I only had even like with a small trade, I just probably, so I understand what you're saying. So maybe you throw like a small long or a small short in here, whatever way you think it's going to lead. That's okay. I don't really like to gamble, so that's just not my style. I know some people do. There's people in the Discord who like to do this. They get their paychecks, and whenever it comes time around, they'll throw the dart at the board. That's just not my style. I just don't enjoy that. I wouldn't think it's fun, and it's just not how I want to manage my money. Not to say that it's wrong, but again, it's just not my style. So even if I had like a little, I do have the money to just kind of throw a small trade in here and pray it goes the right way, but it just wouldn't be it would not make me happy. Like, I'd probably be more miserable than happy, even if the trade went through. Wow, sorry, I missed a lot of questions. How do cryptos do in Venezuela? I can't find any articles on it. What do you mean by how do cryptos do in Venezuela? I can't find it. So Venezuela, I believe, also already has they have their own national cryptocurrency called and it's backed by their oil reserves, if I'm not mistaken. So they have like a national cryptocurrency, which is kind of cool, but could be very tampered with if it's centralized enough. How long do you estimate before the golden cross? So at the rate that it's going right now, if we want to go ahead and over here and look at it, at the rate that it's going right now, it looks like it could happen by month end or early May. So it really all depends on how fast the candle chart moves, because the EMAs represent the candle chart, and the orange is the 50 EMA and the pink is the 200. And so the 200 moves slower than the 50. But at the rate that it's going right now, I could see it happening by month end. So by the end of April, maybe even early May. Originally, I thought it was going to be more so of mid-May, which is still possible. But something to keep in mind is that this could be a fake out. Again, a lot of people don't like me saying that, but it is a possibility, and I do like to talk about all the possibilities on here, so people aren't just like, well, you only talked about a golden cross, and the golden cross never played out, and next thing you know, this thing tanked, because we've seen 2 golden crosses in the history of Bitcoin, and we've also seen 2 fake outs of a golden cross, which have absolutely dumped the market. So when a golden cross happens, the market pumps like insanely hard. But when a fake out of a golden cross happens, the market dumps. Not, I would say as hard as it pumps, but when a fake out happens on a golden cross, the thing dumps hard. So either way, and we've seen a fake out over here before. We saw a fake out earlier this year on a golden cross right in here. You saw the fake out, and this thing dumped hard, all the way from almost from $10,000 all the way to $5,700. So arguably about $4,000 to $5,000 dump on a fake out of a golden cross over here. And we've seen it over here. I don't know if this chart goes back that far. I hope it does. Does this chart go back far enough? No, it doesn't, unfortunately. I'll have to go to the Bitstamp chart to show you. But essentially, the last time a fake out of a golden cross happened, the exact same thing. It was very, very similar situations. Yeah, so if it occurs, I would say probably close to the end of the month. Maybe sooner, give or take some days. Um, Singard, welcome. Nice to finally get you on one of your streams. Yeah, welcome, Singard. Great to have you. Reading through all these comments. Congrats on breaking 5,000 subscribers. Thank you so much, man. Edward, I know you've been supporting me for a while. I've been going at it. I'm glad to finally have broken 5,000 subscribers. With the, I'm going to be also doing live streams more. I think I'm going to be going a live around 8 or 9 o'clock Eastern time. And I'm going to be trying to do a couple of these a week. You're wrong. It could be an ascending triangle. Otherwise, demand wouldn't have held this price at the top of the range. I would disagree with that, and I'll explain why in a second. I think that there's reasons to be bullish, and I've talked about them. I just did a video talking about why Bitcoin could be about to just moon. So I just made a video about it. So I'm not bearish. I'm really very neutral here. I'm just sitting back and watching. I'd love for this thing to take off. Not before my Pundy order gets filled. I've been in a Pundy fill for almost a week. But I'll talk about that in a second, Mr. Patel. Karen said, did you hear about the new stock EVSI for futures that may go up since the engineering is fueling electric cars and plants accepting Bitcoin in 2025? I have not heard about that, but it sounds really cool. I don't really trade stocks. The two things that I'm focused on right now is that I do a lot of cryptocurrencies. So I swing trade and I day trade cryptocurrencies. And I do that in place of stocks because I think there's more money to be kind of made. And although it's kind of predictable. Anyway, I really like trading cryptocurrency more than stocks. It's honestly just preference. And I'm better at it. And I trade futures contracts for commodities, Forex, and indexes. So I do those three as well. And those are probably the most fun out of anything of trading, but it's also just like stressful. Yeah, if you guys are watching, hit that like button. It helps out a lot, and I appreciate it. Daniel said, how do you know if it's genuine or fake because the indicator is delayed? That's the thing, is like you really don't. That's exactly why I was saying over here is like why I'm not trading right now. It's because you don't know if it's going to be real or fake. Like, no one knows. Some people are like, oh, well, I know because of this and that. They don't know. I mean, a lot of people are going to lie to you. And the goal of this channel is to just keep it real, because if people continually lie to you and be like, and tell you what you want to hear, that's not how you make money. That's not how I make money. So keeping it real here, you don't know. I mean, you'll know, like, once this happens and once this thing like gets closer, or let's go ahead. So like once this thing gets closer, like you'll know pretty fast, because you're gonna see the price, one of two things. Like you're gonna see it like just start moving, like not the EMA, but like the price itself. So if this guy crosses over here and it kind of just dabbling, and then all of a sudden you start seeing it rounding, you're gonna be like, oh no. But it, like, say if this thing just starts going up and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, and then you see the price really start moving, you're going to be like, okay, it's probably a golden cross because the price is taking off like a couple $100 a day. But, and so I'll tell you what, we'll go ahead and I'll show you what it looked like as a fake out, because the fake outs only happened twice in the history, as has the golden cross. So here's the last example of a fake out, and what happened is the EMA, you can see that it it really struggled in here. You can see that the golden cross was very, it was struggling pretty hard in this region. And so this was, what is this? Wrong one. You can see that this definitely struggled in this range. So that's the second fake out. Now let's go ahead and take a look back at what was happening over here. Sorry guys, I gotta zoom in. So here's what the golden cross looked like. You can see that this thing took off relatively fast, like pretty fast. I think relatively is understatement. This thing took off really fast once it golden crossed. I mean, it was kind of dabbling in this range, but really the first example of a fake out of a golden cross was in July and August of 2015. And so what you can see over here is that this was actually just after the bear market. So Bitcoin had a giant bull market, a parabolic bull market, followed by a long consolidated bear market. The thing eventually ended up coming down over here, breaking support, coming down to new lows and a rounding bottom, much like we're having right now. However, And this time, for the first time in the history of Bitcoin, Bitcoin formed a higher high for the first time in the entirety of the bear market. And in this bear market, for the first time, it did form a higher high, and it looked like it was going to golden cross, just like exactly like what we're doing today. We formed the higher high. We look like we're going to golden cross, but in reality, this was all a giant bull trap, as it didn't golden cross. Price tanked back downwards, and along with that, we saw, a giant swing low. Now, it was a higher swing low because of over here, but what it was is this was all just a giant bull trap to get everyone to be like, oh, well, we were receiving higher highs. We were receiving almost a golden cross. Everything looks bullish for the first time in the entirety of the bear market. Bitcoin showing higher highs and bullishness, and now that we pushed up a couple $1,000, or in this case, a couple $100 from our swing low, it was pretty much the same situation today. And then the golden cross didn't happen. People got absolutely wrecked, and they were like, well, I quit crypto. It's a scam. And then right after this was really the final stop out of everyone before the bull market happened. And then a couple months after this, August, September, October, end of October came around, the actual golden cross happened, and this thing mooned to levels that it's never seen before. And so when the golden cross happened, it went up and up and up and up, and it never stopped until it almost hit $20,000, and it just kept going up. And as much as I can scroll this chart, I'll be scrolling this for forever. We're only at 5,000 or 6,000 right now, and the thing just kept going upwards. And this is what happened during the last golden cross. Now, not to say that it's going to do this again, but this is literally what happened the last time around. So it's not like me being biased. It's just historically showing you guys what happened the last time Bitcoin did do a golden cross. And you just keep on scrolling, because it didn't death cross for a long time after this. So right now we're pushing around 16,000. So can it ever do this again? So if it golden crossed here, could it actually do something like this again as we're approaching the top, way up, close to 20K? And I think the answer to that is yes, it could do something like this again. However, I'm not sure it's going to do something of this magnitude. I think it's possible. I wouldn't say that it's impossible. I would say that this was something like it's never seen before. And in order for it to do something like this again on this level and to create a giant hyperwave, not to use the hyperwave theory, but to say that it can't do something like this and make this guy look insignificant, I think it would need retail. It would need more than just the common folk money. So last time around, there were very few big industries that were in here. It was a lot of this was just from, either a couple rich people and a lot of just the common folk around the world. And if you want this thing to do another giant hyperwave like it did over here, it certainly can get past this just without all this, what I'm talking about. And I believe it will eventually. But if you want it to have a giant parabolic market cycle, again, pushing 50,000 or 100,000, you're going to need some bigger industries in here. And I think that's what you're starting to see roll into crypto, is some bigger companies and industries. JP Morgan, Walmart started using blockchain technology, SBI over in Asia. Asia and Australia are big advocates, and even in Europe now. You have the largest, I want to say it's the largest ETF in Europe that started doing cryptocurrency things. And so you're starting to see bigger players come into this. You can buy airline tickets with Bitcoin now. You can buy other sporting events with Bitcoin. You can buy your airline tickets. You can buy cars. You can buy houses now with it. You can go to KFC and buy Bitcoin in Canada, or and buy your food in Canada with it. Pretty much every big precious metal retailer will give you a discount at buying cryptocurrency if you pay in cryptocurrency. So it's very possible that it does. I personally believe eventually Bitcoin will pass its previous high. Now, I think it's going to be something that's going to take time, but I do think that it's very possible that it will. Let's go ahead back here and go through some of these comments. Thank you guys for everyone who's joining in here. If you guys have any questions, shoot those in the comment box, and I'd love to be able to answer those for you. Barry said, hey buddy, we asked the question the other day, and I had said May 26th, but I'm really thinking that it's a fake out and will not happen until July 12th at 4:02 p.m. Dang, that's super precise. Yeah. I'll touch on that more in a little second here. Okay, I forgot. So someone asked about why this wasn't an ascending triangle. I explained why it wasn't a bull flag, but let me explain why it's not an ascending triangle in my opinion. So an ascending triangle, if you guys don't know, it's a flat level of resistance with a rising form of support. And what this does is that it squeezes pressure towards the upside until eventually it breaks out. And so with this being over here, you don't really have this ascending triangle and what you need. I think you very much rather have a parallel channel, and you can see that, and you also have a rising wedge inside of that, which, you know, I believe to be pretty clear. Not to say that it has to be respected, but with an ascending triangle, where would we be drawing the line? So maybe we could say that it's like over in here, and maybe we could say that the support line is something like this. But I think you kind of create a lot of problems, because then you have this jagged ascending triangle that already had a false breakout. You can't even call this a piercing candle. What you can say is maybe this is a false breakout and it came back down. So maybe it is. Maybe it's a very sloppy ascending triangle, but so let's just say you do call it an ascending triangle, and then this thing breaks out to resistance again, and then you can be like, well, it was an ascending triangle, when in reality, all it did was respect the bear flag even more, because yes, in theory it broke out, but it broke out just to the top of resistance. So the question is, well, which one is it? Is it a bear flag or is it an ascending triangle? And this would mean that it wasn't an ascending triangle, it was just a bear flag the whole time. And so if it touches the top of resistance again, which would be around 57.50 probably, I think that would just reiterate the fact that it's a bear flag rather than an ascending triangle. And I've seen this happen a lot. So a lot of times in ascending triangles and descending triangles, or a lot of the times in rising and falling channels, a lot of people argue for rising and falling triangles, ascending and descending triangles. And so in reality, throughout the whole time, it wasn't a triangle, but it was rather a wedge. And so the price didn't break out because it was a triangle. The price broke out because this is the top of the wedge and that's the resistance. And so when it breaks out, people are like, well, I told you so. And then I pull up the chart and I'm like, well, no, look, the whole time it just touched resistance again. So hopefully that makes sense. Not to like bash on you or anything, but I just believe that is like, it would be kind of like playing with fire, basically. I understand why you think so, because you have 1, 2, 3 separate touch points in here, but you also have this whole fake out rally. So maybe it is a sloppy ascending triangle, and maybe it does break out, but I think that if it does break out, the measured move on something like this would just be back up to resistance of the bear flag. So at the end of the day, it wouldn't matter, because if we're going to keep going up from here and keep respecting the bear flag, we'll touch the top of the bear flag one more time before ultimately breaking down, and that's what the ascending triangle would say anyway. Daniel said, so what do you think? So what should you do? Just wait to see what's happening if it dumps to 1K in 3 minutes? So I don't think it could dump to 1K in 3 minutes. I think that would take like days to do. And I'm not sure we're going to reach. It's possible that we reach that again. I don't say anything's impossible in cryptocurrency, but because I've seen a lot of things. If you guys don't know, I started working with Bitcoin. I really found out about Bitcoin in late 2011, and so I don't say anything's impossible in cryptocurrency anymore. Everyone always told me everything's impossible in Bitcoin when it was $1.97, and people told me it was impossible and that it was an idiotic idea to invest in it then, and that it was impossible for me to make money off of it, and blah, blah, blah. I've heard the word impossible a lot of times in cryptocurrency, and it's always been proven wrong. You know, like, obviously there's, like, stupid things, like Bitcoin's going to hit $1 million in 2020. Like, it's possible, again, but, like, come on. You know how much of the world's money would have to be in Bitcoin? Do an analysis and find out what the price would be and multiply that by the market cap, and you would be astonished at how much money. It's like saying Ripple's going to be $1,000. It's statistically impossible. There is not enough money in the world for Ripple to be $1,000. It would mean that we would have to literally be printing money from every country in the world, and we still probably wouldn't have enough. So if every money from every single person in the world, every company, every country, every homeowner, if all of their money was to be put in XRP, it could not hit $1 million because we simply just don't have that much money. Not to say that XRP is bad, because I love XRP. But like a lot of these people give these unrealistic predictions without doing any kind of like fact checking on what that would do to the world's economy. But I'm a huge advocate for Bitcoin. So basically what I'm doing is I'm not trading in here because I think it's the riskiest thing. It's the riskiest area ever. And I gave the analogy of like if you work outside and you work with like plants and animals, why would you go and work during a hurricane? And like why would you go and say you're like a landscaper? That's a great example. If you're a landscaper, why would you go outside and work during like the hurricane or the harshest storm or the typhoon or the hailstorm? Why would you go do your work then when you could just wait a couple days till it's all over, then come out, be way more productive with your work, way more efficient? I need to get rid of this line as well. And the same thing goes with trading. Why would you come into like the riskiest area, the hardest area to trade? Why would you want to come in here, force doing work here where you're not going to be as productive? You're not going to have the statistics on your side. You're not going to have proper divergence. Why would you come in here and just not wait it out? People are going to be like, well, there's so much money to be made in here. And like, yes, there is, but again, it's a gamble. So if that's the kind of money you want to make, you can go do that at a casino. But that's just not what I like. Crypto Kiwi said opposite is a death cross. Agreed. Yeah, so when the 50 EMA, we're on the 4 hour right now. When the 50 EMA crosses upwards over the 200 EMA, it's a golden cross. And when the opposite happens, like over here, this is a death cross. And you can see that this is really what caused the whole bear market, is a death cross. And over here, so this is the death cross because the 50 EMA crossed downwards over the 200 EMA. So now we're about to have the opposite happen and be a golden cross, which is a really bullish thing to see. Only happened twice in the history of Bitcoin. If you guys are enjoying, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to be able to have you guys return. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask those. Stay-at-home dad here, I like that name, said, you can see the momentum prior to the fake out. Also the golden cross. Yeah, so I'll agree with you right there, stay-at-home dad. The golden cross is one of the most bullish scenarios for Bitcoin right now. There's no denying that it looks like it's going to happen. Could it be a fake out? Yeah, but you're probably betting against. So I guess there's been 2 golden crosses and there's been 2 fake outs of golden crosses in the history of Bitcoin. So, you know, again, it could go either way, but I think that, you know, like you're kind of betting against the odds if you are going for a fake out. And even though I kind of am, but that's really the reason that I'm not trading. I am smart enough to know that I'm not going to be shorting a potential golden cross. Because if I short and this thing goes through, I'm getting absolutely destroyed. Like there's no risk management in that. Like you put in a stop loss, but you're probably going to get hit by slippage and other things. So I'm not going to be shorting a potential golden cross area. But at the same time, I'm not going to be longing this either. So I agree with you. So like the golden cross is like a super bullish scenario for Bitcoin right now. And we'll go ahead and get in some altcoins here in a second. I want to go through and make sure I get all these questions. Barry said, don't forget, once a golden cross happened, the price dropped before it went above the 200 EMA and never touched it again till the drop. Don't forget, once the golden cross happened, the price dropped before it went above the 200 EMA. Yeah, exactly. Well said, Barry. Karen said, wow, major spike. Is it a good time to buy now? I can't answer that for you. Personally, I did most of my buying around 3.4K, 3.3K, down over here in this little guy, in this little region. This is where I did most of my buying. And I have not bought any Bitcoin since. I've been trading it a lot. I've been accumulating a ton of Bitcoin through trading, but not like, yeah, so I don't want to go into the details on that. But I have been accumulating a good amount of cryptocurrency since then, but this is the last time I actually bought US dollar into cryptocurrency. That was the last time I bought, was around. So if it comes back down here, you know, I'd love to buy some more, but you know, I'll just wait this out. If not, you know, it's still relatively cheap because I'll be holding this for years to come. And my ideal sell target would be once cryptocurrency is in at least, you know, 5 digits again. And I'll go into some of the altcoins. I can't go into all of them. There's some really good ones. Sorry, I have a couple of messages I need to look at. Also, if you guys are a Patreon, you guys get priority to anything in chat. So if you guys want me to look at anything, you guys just let me know. And you guys get priority in chat. Because you guys, again, you guys pay. So it's just fair. Barry said, Karen, I personally do, excuse me, God, I cannot speak. Karen's, personally, I do not think it's a good time to buy. I think it will drop off again back down to 4,600, said Barry. Mr. Patel said, you're wrong again. If the U.S. government printed enough money, XRP could be $1 million. Well, you're just wrong, and I'll show you why. I'll show you the statistic. I love XRP. XRP is one of the cryptocurrencies that I hold the most of. In my portfolio, I hold some of the most XRP almost than any other thing. So I hold the most Bitcoin. I hold a lot of Pundi as well. And XRP is probably like my second or third most owned cryptocurrency. So I absolutely love XRP. It's been one of the main topics on my channel for a long time. But I'll show you why it is statistically impossible for XRP to even hit $1 million. So first things first is that we're gonna have to pull up. And sorry for those of you guys who don't want to see this, but let me go ahead and explain this, because I've done this before. So XRP right now, it has a market cap of, let's just say $14 million, sorry. So XRP has a market cap of $14 billion roughly. We're just going to round it up here. And the price of XRP is 33 cents. So essentially what we're going to be doing over here is doing a multiplier of just multiplying this by 10. So if we multiply XRP by, 100 times, it's going to be $33 because we just keep moving it over every decimal place. So if we multiply this by 100, it's going to be 33. If we multiply it by 1,000, it's going to be $330. If we multiply it by 10,000, it's going to be, what is that, like $33,000. So let's go ahead and just multiply the market cap by 10,000, because that would mean XRP is 33,000 or something. Right? So let's just do this. So 0.33 times, what is that? So times $10,000 is $3,300 for XRP. Now let's go ahead and get that same number, 10,000, and multiply it by our market cap over here, which is how we get our price, which is, let's just say 14 million. So 14, is that enough zeros? So let's just see. Make sure I get this right. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so that's 14 million. And multiply this out, that gives us an even larger number, which I'm going to have to copy over here because that's too many zeros for me to even read. So we're going to have to start placing some things. So that would make this $140 trillion. All right? So if we wanted a $3,300 XRP per XRP share, it would cost us $140 trillion. Now, if we go over here and we just type in like how much money is in the world, 2019. There has to be an answer right here. Right here. Well, I guess it is 2009. So let's do 2018. So as of last year, how much money is there in the world? It's the same article we just looked at. I just want there to be like a flat answer. Okay, here. Purest money, the narrow, blank coins, blah, blah, blah. The total is somewhere around $36.8 trillion. If you're looking at broad money, which isn't just physical and includes any money easily accessible in any accounts in the number of the world, it's $90.4 trillion. So if there's only counting, so in fiat money, there's only 36.8 trillion, but if you're counting everything like gold, silver, houses, property, oil, cattle, like commodities, everything, then we're pushing 90.4 trillion. So if we want a $3,300 price of XRP, it would cost $140 trillion. Where if we were to sell everything on the planet right now and only get, wait, what happened to it? And only get, did I exit out of it? Oh, and only get 90.4 trillion. How in the world are we going to get a $3,300 XRP right now if that is, $50 million more than is even physically possible in the world? So maybe you can say you don't like the statistics that website's doing. So let's just go to another one. All right, maybe they're not going to let me. All right, well, they don't want me to. Let's go to this one, Atlas. There's approximately $36.8 million of physical money around the world. So there it is again, which is nowhere close. So you'd be saying that we're going to have to multiply this by like 5 or 6 times, probably even more than that, just to get a $3,300 XRP. So how in the world are we going to push, and I don't mean to be mean when I'm saying this, but how in the world are we going to be pushing how in the world are we going to be pushing $1 million if it's going to cost us $140 trillion to get just over $3,000 in XRP? And that's the thing. So yes, I understand that you can just keep printing money and you can just keep printing and printing and printing. But if you do that, you ruin the price. So $1 wouldn't be worth $1 anymore, if you understand what I'm saying. So $1 paired to gold, paired to the euro, paired to the yen, it wouldn't be worth $1 anymore. The price of the US dollar fiat currency would tank substantially if you were to print out $140 trillion. Like, our currency would be like non-existent. Like, a dollar would be worth like I don't know, I think it would be worth less than a quarter. So that's just like what I mean by that. It literally, statistically, there is not enough money in the world to have XRP be over like over $1,000. Like, okay, so you could say that like 1,000 is actually possible, because it is. So $1,000 XRP is actually a possibility. I think it's extremely like, you're putting yourself in a super hard situation where everything has to go right. But it's actually a numerically possible thing for XRP to hit $1,000. But anything over that is pretty much pushing numerically impossible. Wow, you started early. You're so young. Great for you. Thank you so much, man. Or woman. Yeah, I actually get that a lot. But I appreciate it. $1,000 XRP would be approximately $45 trillion in market cap. Yeah, so that's why it's possible. It would be possible, but it would, again, actually, no, it wouldn't be, because there's only, actually, yeah, so it wouldn't be. So we said that there's only $36.8 trillion in the world, so how in the world are we going to get $45 trillion just for XRP? So screw the housing market, screw everything else in the entire world. If we just want XRP to be our sole purpose in life, we still wouldn't have enough money for it, unless we, like, start pulling gold from other planets or something, I don't know. But then even that would, like, devalue gold. Singard, sorry, I just saw your comment. By the way, if you guys are a Patreon and you guys have questions, shoot them to me in like a DM or tag me in the Patreon channel and ask them, because the comment section gets really flooded and you guys get priority. Any long-term for PundyX? Yeah. So this is something that we've been talking about. I want to type in Pundy, NPXS. So if we're going to go ahead and do this off of NPXS to USD, so if we're going off US dollar, basically valuation, then yes, I think that we could easily be pushing, like, it's very possible that Pundy pushes back to 1 cent. Or I think it was at 1 cent. This is once it got listed to Binance. So at one point it was at 1 cent, and you can't really see it on the Binance chart because they don't go back. So where can we go? NPXX to the South Korean won. We don't want that. Bittrex. Can we see it on Bittrex maybe? No, this thing just got added as well. Dang it. So on the TradingView chart, they have it. And I guess I can go ahead and pull that guy. I hate looking at TradingView charts. But NPXS, if we're going over here, what you can see is that it was, very easily. I wish I could zoom this in for you guys. But over in this whole region over in here, over towards the left side of the screen, you can see that XRP was around, it was well over $1 cent in US dollar fiat price format. So it was well over 1 cent, and in fact, it actually peaked around 1.2, 1.3 cents. And I think it peaked, yeah. So it peaked around 1.4 cents, pushing 1.5 cents. So if it was about 1.5 cents, I would expect that it could at least get back up at least. And I think that it's going to do very, very well. So the longer that cryptocurrency is a real deal, I think that it can... Oops, sorry, I'm getting more messages. So as long as as cryptocurrency is around and thriving, Pundy's going to do, because of the way that, and what the product that they're offering is they're going to do continually better and better and better the longer that cryptocurrency is around, as long as they, keep up their company. So if cryptocurrency keeps growing, Pundy will grow significantly, kind of like BNB. but they're going to be more of a long-term game than BNB, because if Pundy starts really doing what they're supposed to be doing and cryptocurrency starts growing again and starts getting adopted, they're going to be at the forefront of it. So I think that it's really kind of an if scenario. So for Pundy right now, I think that it very well could get back up to 1 cent. And I was doing the math. I think it's like it was some crazy price, because right now we're at what are we at? Like 0.0007 cents. So I mean, the math, you can do the math on that, but like it's pretty good. It's pretty good not risk versus reward. Pretty good payback if we do reach anywhere near the high. So I'm not even saying the high. I'm saying 1 cent, not 1.5 cents. So the yield would be really good. So ideally, I would like to sell Pundy at like at least 1 cent, or at least at like 100 Satoshis. So that's really my price area for selling Pundy, is either over 1 cent or over 100 Satoshis. And until then, I'll probably just be holding it. And even then, I might hold it for longer, because if Pundy actually starts picking up their game, I think that Pundy could be like the next Raven coin, because Raven coin has been one that I've called for so long, and it's one that I held over all of 2018 when like no one knew about it, and it was like ranked like 500 on like the rankings. Like, it was one of those coins that you would never have heard about. And I think that Pundy could eventually be the next Raven coin. Basically, scenario. That's my opinion. Maybe it just dies and never does anything, but I think Pundy has an absolutely phenomenal team. Obviously, they're a little bit higher up on the rankings. They're ranked at 51 now, but I think that they can easily push their way into the top 20, which would higher their market cap a lot, and hiring their market cap that much would raise the price of Pundy dramatically. So those are my targets for Pundy, is pushing back up to either 100 Satoshis or 1 cent, and hopefully beyond that. When you say you don't trade it, it means that you keep your money in fiat current. Oh, okay, so no. So Daniel, that's actually a really good question, so thank you for asking that. When I say that I'm not trading it, it means that I am just keeping my money in Bitcoin. Because if I'm taking my money out of Bitcoin, it's pretty much trading it still, because that means that I think it's going to go down. And so I'm going to be holding Bitcoin. I'm a huge advocate of cryptocurrency, and so I'm going to be holding my cryptocurrency for a long time. And I think that it's like I don't know, like I'm going to be holding my cryptocurrency for like years to come. So why would I take it out unless I really thought it was going to go down? And even then, I don't take out my crypto. I short it. So I'll short it on like 10x leverage or something if I think it's going to go down. But besides that, if I, in this situation, I'll keep my money in Bitcoin is what I'm trying to say. I'll keep my money in Bitcoin. If it goes down, it goes down. If it goes up, it goes up. It was pretty much what I was doing in this area. It was resistance, so I wasn't shorting it, but it was, resistance, so I wasn't long, or it was an ascending triangle, so I wasn't shorting it, but it was resistance, so I wasn't longing it. Now, there were signs as to why I actually should have longed this. The more I look back at this on like a 4-hour chart, the more I was like, all right, well, there's pretty clear signs that this was going to happen, like higher lows and stuff. But, yeah. But in this area, basically what I'll do is I'll just keep my money in Bitcoin. I'll keep all my cryptocurrencies in. I'm not going to sell any of them. But if it goes down, it goes down. And again, it doesn't matter to me because I'm going to be holding for years to come until, again, probably the top of the next bull market. Or at least till higher highs, because honestly that's when I'll be holding cryptocurrency for a long time. I'm young. I'm 21 years old. I'll be holding crypto for a long time. And maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. But at the end of the day, if cryptocurrency burns and does anything, it would really suck. But it wouldn't ruin my life, kind of. If you know what I'm saying. Like, I don't have like my entire life saving all put into Bitcoin. Like, at the end of the day, if Bitcoin crashes and burns, I'm not going to be like homeless on the street. So I have like I trade more than just cryptocurrency as well. I trade futures contracts for forex, commodities, and indexes like S&P, Nasdaq, and Dow Jones are the main ones. Sorry guys, I woke up from a nap like right before I did this live stream. It's been a long day. It was raining here. It was just like the perfect nap weather. If the U.S. government printed a ton of Tether, it's possible? No, because then that would just devalue. Because the problem with just printing mass amounts of money is that you screw over the economy. Because if you're printing that much money, you're devaluing something else. So if the government prints like 100 million $100 bills, then the price of the US dollar tanks significantly. So then $140 trillion is worth less because you're hyperinflating the market. So it's the whole argument of supply and demand. If you make the supply significantly greater, then the demand is going to be less for it. If you have only 100 of something in the world, it's going to be more valuable than something that has 1,000,000 of itself in the world. The reason why you can't go pick up a rock on the street and sell it to someone for $1,000, any ordinary rock, is because anyone can go grab an ordinary rock. But if you grab a rare rock like gold or silver or a diamond, it's going to be worth more. Why? Because of supply and demand. There is less of a supply in the world, so the demand for it is going to be greater. The same thing goes with the US dollar and all fiat currencies, is that the supply, if the supply goes up of that, asset or whatever you want to call it, then the demand will go down. The price of it will go down if you keep printing more of it. So it devalues the currency by printing more of it. So it's not like it holds its price. If you keep printing more of it, it's going to be worth less to everyone else. So maybe in the US you could be like, well, haha, I now own $1 trillion. But $1 trillion then isn't what $1 trillion before all that money would have been printed, is what I'm trying to say. What days are you doing your videos, buddy, so I can drop in on you? So I'm going to try to get a set live stream date up. I don't know what those days are going to be. I might do like a post where I'll let you guys vote on it. But I'm going to be doing probably at least a couple live streams a week, and then I'll hopefully be doing videos, probably at least 3-4 videos a week as well, because I'm going, if you guys don't know, I'm going full-time. It's kind of cool. So I'm going full-time at 21 years old into trading and into YouTube and to basically teaching people how to do this stuff. Because if you guys have been following me for any amount of time, I've grown my portfolio roughly a little backstory. So this isn't meant to gloat, but this is a backstory of like what I do. So if you would have told me a couple years ago that this is what I would be doing as my form of employment, I would say you're absolutely nuts. But no, so yeah, basically I've been growing my portfolio a couple 100% just this year. I haven't lost a trade since February 27th, I think. That was the last time I lost a trade. And before that, I had a 100% win rate in January, and then I had a 100% win rate up until February. Had a 1 loss in February and a couple stop losses hit. And then February 27th was my last loss. And I have like a public record of that, so I can back it all up. But the portfolio is now up. That's one of the things that people are always like, well, you're wrong, you don't do this. And then, I mean, if you want the public record and you want to look at my trade history, I can prove it. So I don't really care. What days are you? Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't answer that. 589. Haha, I don't know what that means. Wow, I'm sorry guys, I'm really far behind on comments. Aside from the astronomical numbers attached to the 3K XRP, how big of a company is Ripple considered being? How much XRP do they own? Then Apple makes no sense. Considering how much XRP they own. How about how big of a company Ripple will be considering how much XRP they own? Be bigger than Apple. Makes no sense. So yeah, so that's like one of the problems with XRP. I think that's what you're touching at, Hassam, is that Ripple owns XRP shares. And something that XRP actually did is that so XRP is no longer called Ripple XRP because and people argued that Ripple was centralized because they were a part of because XRP was centralized because it was part of Ripple. So what they did is they actually detached, it was a while ago, Ripple detached themselves from Ripple. So XRP is no longer Ripple. XRP is now separate from Ripple. I don't know if that means that they sold all their shares of it. I don't really know about that. I can't tell you. But I do know that XRP has, last time I checked, XRP separated themselves from the Ripple company. Doesn't mean that Ripple doesn't love XRP anymore, but they just did it for making it more decentralized. So I don't know how much they own. I do know that at one point they did own a lot. Bitcoin price prediction for 2022. That's a hard question. I don't like doing these because it's so far off in the future. Do you see Bitcoin at 200K? Eventually, yes. Lol, I am so old. I bought Bitcoin back at $18. Yeah, dude, I can relate. I saw Bitcoin at $1.97, $1.96. Everyone made fun of me for it. Stay-at-home dad here said a 1.2 2 cents XPS would be a great 18x from its current price. Yeah, it would be. And I think that is very, very possible, especially if anything significant happens in cryptocurrency in the retail industry. Where do you see Bitcoin in 3 years? I would say I see it at a higher high. I don't know. Like, so it's such a hard question to ask because no one knows where it's going to be in 3 years. Like, if I had to guess, I would say probably between 50K and 70. I'm very conservative, so I would say over 50K. There's a lot of people who think that it can be pushing like 200K, and I don't think that that's crazy at all. I think it's possible. You're wrong. You're an idiot. It is possible. Well, you can say that I'm wrong and I'm an idiot all you want, but I just showed you numerically that there is not enough money in the world to make it happen. Like, there just isn't. I love XRP. Like, it is one of the things that I talk the most bullish about on this channel. But there is not, like, it's not even a thing of, like, I'm biased. There is only $36.8 trillion in the world. What you're saying would cost hundreds of trillions of dollars. The world does not have the capital to do that right now. It is not even an argument. It's like saying that you think that there's 5 trillion people, or like 5 trillion people in the state of Washington, or in the state of I don't know, New York. Like, there's just not. You can't argue that. You can't just be like, you're wrong. There are 5 trillion people in New York. There's not 5 trillion people in New York. Just because you want it to happen. I would love dude, I own a lot of XRP. I would love it to be $1 million a piece. It's not possible, though. It would ruin, it just isn't. Ninja, why be rude? If you think of it will happen, buy your XRP and hold it, hit your wizard, price of Oz. Yeah, exactly. I mean, so if you think it's going to happen so much, buy your XRP. I have already bought a ton of XRP. I love XRP. It's not possible. We have $36.8 trillion in the world, and what you're saying would cost hundreds and hundreds or thousands of trillions of dollars. Like, it just isn't possible. Unfortunately. I wish it was, because I would be set for life. How long have you been trading? Please tell us your background. I'm very interested. All right, I'll answer that in 1 second. Let me get through the rest of the questions. How did you accrue so much knowledge on crypto at such a young age? I'm 38 and still can't get into my head around it at times. So, Chris, basically what I did is I spent hours every single day. So originally I got started in 7th grade with stocks and stuff like that. After 7th grade, around my 9th, 10th grade year of high school, my freshman, sophomore year, I started learning about Bitcoin and reporting on it and blockchain technology. And the technology behind Bitcoin back then was absolute crap. So I understand why everyone told me it was going to fail. But I saw a lot of potential. And so then in 9th and 10th grade, I started getting into cryptocurrencies and stuff, reporting on it. Everyone made fun of me. Kind of beat the idea out of my head for a while. And so I started getting more involved with it. And so I did trading in 7th grade. And like up and then it was like required for me. And so getting back into it. So once I entered in, I'm now a junior in college. And once I got into college, I started getting back into it because the technology won and Bitcoin had significantly increased and in cryptocurrency. And so when you started having like things like Ethereum and XRP and some of these other cryptos start rolling around that had a significantly better blockchain than Bitcoin, it said that there was scalability in the market again. And so I said, all right, well, this is worth it. And so what I would do is I would set aside hours every single day to teaching myself, learning all about every cryptocurrency, how blockchain worked, like everything. So anything from the technical analysis itself to the indicators to the technology behind every one in the use cases of what they're possible to doing and where the technology is possible to go into the future, reading like white papers, watching videos, getting mentors of people who knew way more than I did, just like literally soaking up so much information, hours every single day for, a year and a half. And so I just poured myself into it. And it was nice because I was in college and because I'm still a student, I have that time. And so a lot of people, in college, they sacrifice their time to say that it's, they're going to go out on the weekends and they're going to go out and party a lot. And they're going to go out and do this and that. And like people in college do all sorts of things. I was, I'm still in college, but I put a lot of my time into learning about investing and how to make money and how to read markets And I know that's not what the typical college student does, but because of me sacrificing essentially my time for going out and doing all that stuff, I'm now ahead of 99% of, probably 99.99% of my class, because I taught myself how to do something actually important. And not to say that I don't go out and I don't do things that I enjoy, because I do, but I spend a lot of my free time learning and researching and learning how to be a better trader, expanding in the different markets, learning more about the technology. And so I just pour hours into it every day, and that's just the honest thing. And then I think the biggest thing besides that is just doing it, trial and error, and finding a mentors who are smarter than you, and just learning from them, soaking it up, ask questions. And it took me a long time, but like, I don't know if Poker Throat's in here, but like that guy has come a long way. He's a guy that I've kind of been mentoring for a while now. I don't think he's in here, unfortunately. But I've kind of been mentoring him for a while, and it's crazy. You can see just how like far he's coming, and like other people too. And so that's kind of like my whole thing. So I still have I mentor people now, but I still have mentors who are even smarter than I am. Because just because, say I have a 100% win rate in cryptocurrency, I don't have a 100% win rate in futures and in trading indexes and commodities and Forex. I don't have a 100% win rate in those. So my goal is to ultimately have a 100% win rate in those, because it's perfect. It's a perfect win rate, and that's what I'm satisfied with. I'm satisfied with perfection. So if I can transfer this over there, and so that's like the goal, is just keep learning more and more. I can only ever become a better trader if I fail at something. I figure out why I failed, what I did wrong, and then I make sure I don't do it again. Just lots of studying, Chris. Stay-at-home dad here says 5 trillion rats in New York for sure. That's true. Bobby Crypto says, I bought Bitcoin at $85 just to buy drugs on the Silk Road. Should have kept it, lol. I had a friend who bought a bunch of Bitcoin for a video game called CSGO, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and he bought a bunch so he could go buy stuff on the game, and forgot about it. And then Bitcoin like took off, and he remembered he'd had it, and he was like, oh my god. He was... Okay, so Poker Throat is here. So yeah, Poker Throat is one of the guys, like, and Poker, I don't know if you've noticed it, but I've definitely noticed it, like, how far you came from, like, I think we started talking in fall of 2018, and it's crazy to see how far you've come, like, honestly. And you're one of the guys that I've done the most work with, and so that's why I say that. I've done work with, like, a lot of other guys, but, like, it's just crazy. Another one, MJ Jacobs, he's not in here right now. I know he's gone, but, like, you're just two of the guys that I know that have just come so far. And I'm sure you've noticed it as well. I hope so, at least. I bought Bitcoin. Oh, yeah, I already read that. I meant to say 580. Oh, so is $589 XRP possible? Let me go find out. I think it would be. It would be, but it would be hard. It would be hard. I'll tell you that. It would be really hard, but it's possible. So J-Dop. It is possible. To answer your question, yes. Is it likely? It'd be pushing it. I think you'd have to have about half of the world's money, or over half of the world's money. So it would be really, really hard, but numerically it's possible. JK, I mean, there might be. There's probably not 5 trillion rats, but that's funny. I will be happy if XRP went back to $3. I think that's very, very possible. Very, very probable, in my opinion. Are young people your age interested in crypto? My 21-year-old college boys said most think cryptos are a scam. So no, they're not. I don't really think so. Yes, more young people are inclined to like cryptos than old. There's a survey done. There's a lot of surveys done on it. And yes, younger people are more inclined for adoption of it. But it's not just because I'm young. I think I see the opportunity in it. And a lot of people call it... So I have people who call it scams, but anyone... And I have not met someone... Actually, I've met one person who kind of knows what they're talking about. But even then, like, it's like, I've met a lot of people who said crypto's a scam, and after talking to them and explaining it, like, these are the people who would laugh at you for the idea. And then I actually broke down, I sat with them for like a couple hours. I explained how the technology works, how it's applicable, how the process of supply and demand, and how the entire thing of decentralization on the blockchain works. And then after the one sitting, they go, wow. And they go, okay, and they don't call it a scam anymore. They say, well, even though, they go, well, I might not invest in it, but I'm definitely going to look more into it. It definitely sounds very interesting. And they go, okay, well, I can obviously see now, it's not just a giant scam. And I think anyone who understands the fundamentals behind the cryptocurrency themselves, because a lot of people look at just the blank slate, the name cryptocurrency, and they go, oh, that's just a scam, without knowing any of the fundamentals behind it all and the use cases. Because most people say that's just something that was on the black market for drug dealing. That's all it's ever done. That's all it's ever will do. When in reality, like, that's not true. If you go look at like how, like, all the different use cases of one every cryptocurrency and what they're doing in the world, like, it's incredible. And it's really naive to think that it's only done for drugs and illegal purposes, because it's just not. And you can, like, you can't even argue that anymore, because now there's the public information to prove it wrong. I started following you last spring before you went to HOC. Yeah, wow. So yeah, you've been here for a long freaking time. Wow. Yeah, so Poker 30, I mean, yeah, so you joined Patreon this last fall, and that's when, yeah, because that's when we really started talking a lot, because I've seen you on my stuff before. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Just from last fall to see where you're at now, dude, like, I don't know if you notice it, but, like, I notice it. Before, you'd have to be like, I remember last fall, you'd always be like, well, hey, how do I know if this is a rising wedge? Or, like, but now you're, like, one of the guys who goes in chat and you're like, this is going to happen, and this is why it's going to happen, and then, like, boom, it happens. And then, like, before, you were like, you'd be like, and so I don't mean this in a mean way, but you'd be like, how do I know, like, this isn't, like, a rising wedge or something? And I'd be like, well, you can't really do that because you're just cutting out, like, a lot of information. And so you can kind of still argue that this is, like, a rising wedge, but you'd give stuff like this and be like, well, is this, or you do something like, kind of like this and be like, well, could this be an ascending triangle? And I'd be like, well, probably not. Or, like, something like this, or I don't know. You kind of know what I'm saying. But now you go in and you're like, boom, this is the chart. This is what it means. This is why I think it's going to happen. This is what I think it's going to do. And you're like, this is where my stop loss is. This is why my stop loss is here. This is where I think it's going to go and why. I have a sell layer here, and if it keeps going, I have a stop and profit here if it pulls back. But then I have a second target here where I'll sell the other half. Like, that's what, like, the stuff that I'll see you do, and people will be like, dang. Like, there will be people who will be like, dang, like, I wish I knew how to do that. And, like, that's, like, what you know how to do now, which is really, really cool. Because, like, people look at you do that stuff, and they're like, holy crap. He says, hi, Poker Third, I'm also a poker player. It's the reason I get to stay at home and be a dad. Being my own boss is the greatest thing ever. I agree. Being your own boss is the greatest thing ever. Any ETA on your TA, my TA course? How much is your mentorship? So the TA course, it's done. Like, if you guys, I'll show you guys. Let's pull it up. So the TA course, the technical analysis course, it's pretty much done, and I'll show you guys everything that's on it. So it's all, like, listed over here. But basics, so I do go over the base, and it's already done. So what I'm doing is I'm waiting for the lawyers to get back to me, so I can actually publish it and copyright it, and then I'm good. But I'm literally just waiting for the lawyers to get back to me. But in the technical analysis course, I spent months working on this thing, and because I wanted to make sure it was the best thing that anyone's ever seen. Basically, the basics of support resistance, the basics going over support and resistance lines and timeframes that I like to use when trading. I talk about piercing candles, resistance areas, volumes, and entry of value. I go over consolidation, support, resistance, and how to tell the strength of an area, parallel channels and heart lines. Candles formations, ascending and descending triangles, and rising and falling wedges. I talk about the breakouts. I can't talk about too much because I'm going to be ruining it. But basically, like, when they break out, how to know which one it is, why they happen, the whole 9 yards. I talk about bullish and bearish pennants and symmetrical triangles, what those means and how those can be used as flags. Number 6, I talk about double tops, double bottoms, tweezer double tops, and tweezer double bottoms. Determining whether something is a bull or a bear flag, which is probably one of the most, sought for episodes. Number 8, how head and shoulders and inverse head and shoulders and Bart formations. Number 9, reading moving averages and reading volume, which is a really, really good episode. Number 10, which is my favorite episode, is how to use the MACD and the RSI, because those are the two things that have won me more trades than anything else in the world. And the divergence of those, that's probably the best episode in the entire series, because I think just using those two, along with the candle chart, along with like a basic knowledge of a candle chart, you can learn so much. And then numbers 11s are risk management and finding an entry of a position, in entry and exits, I guess. And then number 12 is the order of operations when trading. And then I have more videos coming out that I'll be adding to the course, probably on like ascending, broadening wedges and cup and handles and Ichimoku clouds and Bollinger Bands, stuff like that I'll probably be adding. But for the time being, this is what it is. And so it's, I think it's going to be freaking amazing. How much is your mentorship? Well, I'm glad you asked. I need to pull it up. What happened here? Boom. So I know Singar just asked how much my mentorship was. So this is basically what I'm talking about. I have a Patreon. There's a link to this in the description down below. If you're interested, go click on it. If not, wait about a minute and a half and I'll be done with this. So basically what you do is you do a tier 1 supporter. This is where I give Bitcoin updates explaining where I believe Bitcoin's going and why. Access to whether I enter or exit trades. I teach technical analysis in there. I had someone a couple days ago ask about, because I was talking about a golden cross and a death cross, and they said, well, what is that? And I said, all right, I'll go do a whole write-up on you in Patreon. I went into Patreon, explained what they were, why they're significant, when they've happened before, and I broke the whole category down and explained it to them in Patreon. So I teach technical analysis, I critique your charts, and give constructive criticism and feedback on how to either become a better charter and then also what I think is going to happen on the chart. I give my personal tips, my complete insight on the current and future market movements, and then you get bonus access to me for any questions that you might have, really acting as your mentor. So sometimes this is going to anything from, hey, can you jump in a voice call with me so I can help learn how to use BitMEX, or I can learn how to use Binance. I've done that before. And then other times it's, hey, can you get in chat with me so you can help explain why this is bearish divergence in this specific format and how you knew it was going to do this thing. And I've done that before as well. So that's the Patreon. There's a link to that in the description down below. It's probably, I wanted to make it cheap enough so that anyone could pretty much have access to it. Because so many people, they're like, well, I want $100 or $500, something stupid. Like, people literally do it, and then at the end of it, some people are just dissatisfied. So my thing is cheap enough to where if you do it for 1 month, hopefully you're satisfied. I've never had anyone not be satisfied. And if they are, then they can just tell me and be like, hey, can you do more of this? And I'll do more of that. I'm very, very easy to work with people. And so it's cheap enough, too, so where if someone goes into it, they're like not killing themselves by having to pay. You know what I'm saying? Because so many people I've heard so many people where they pay $1,000 a month or $500 a month or even $100 a month. And it's just so much money for a lot of people. So why not make it cheap and accessible so everyone can learn and everyone can, yeah. Any tips on Dash, Golden Cross incoming? So there's pretty much a Golden Cross coming on almost everything. If you go look at most of the altcoins, almost all of them have a potential Golden Crosses happening. I don't trade Dash because it's a privacy coin, and I think that they're in a little bit of a hard predicament at the moment, just because governments are beating them in. It's not like they're bad, but governments are kind of beating them in because governments don't like them. And so once they get regulated by governments and stuff, and governments ease off of them, I'll probably start doing messing with them again. Just got into it. Is it question time? If so, any tips on risk management? Never mind, that's on your course. Yeah, it's on the course. At Dad, yeah, was nice golfing whenever I wanted. There's a lot of people who, you'd be surprised, Poker Throat and Stay at Home Dad, there's a lot of people in here who are full-time poker players who also trade cryptocurrency. I've talked to more than I can count in my Discord. Already a Patreon, I guess I just have to read more. I guess I just have to read more in the different rooms. Yeah, Singar, that's another thing, dude, is if you have any questions, me and Poker, like Poker would ask me a lot of questions. He would be in my DMs a lot, and he's come so far. So Singar, like that's like one of the things I think that's helped Poker so much is that he just continued to ask questions. Do not be afraid, man, to ask all the questions possible. Like trial and error through charting and stuff and paper trading is a good thing, but also just don't be afraid to ask questions, to be like, hey, I don't know about this or that, or jump in a voice call with me sometime. You get all the access to me that you want. I saw a guy charting 4K. Yeah, man, risk to reward. It's a good one. It's like I was actually just doing this today. I was speaking of the devil. I was doing this today in Patreon, in the Discord channel in Patreon. I was doing something like this, and I was explaining an altcoin that I can't talk about because I was just talking to the Patreons about it. But I was talking about an altcoin showing a risk versus reward that was well over 1,000, pushing 2,000%, and like the potential that it has. Are you from the Washington area? I'm not. Well, I'm kind of close to Washington, D.C. I'm in Virginia right now. But I'm just at Virginia for some school, for some university. And I will be heading back to North Carolina because that's where my home is. And ideally, that's where I want to live. I love the beach. And so I'll probably go get a place near the beach, ideally, after college. And so, because I love to, like, surf and hang out. And I just love the whole environment of the beach. I think it's very peaceful and soothing and enjoyable. Wow, that was probably the biggest question time I have ever gone through. We didn't even get into any altcoins. I was just so busy. Wow, okay, so I got to get better at this because as the channel grows, I'm definitely going to have to get better at that. Moving over here, let's go ahead and look at, I guess, Ethereum. So Ethereum is pretty much pressing the same thing. If we go into the daily, you can see that it's pushing for a golden cross as well. If we just like zoom out a little bit. Yeah. So over in here on Ethereum, really no divergence either. But no, so there's no divergence on Ethereum. Potentially, it's pushing for double bearish divergence on the RSI, but it's not close enough to it right now. I will say the one thing on Ethereum that I have to take note of is that this 200 EMA on the daily is being used as resistance. So as this is approaching this level again, around $180, potentially, I'm not really trading this area, but potentially I might think about shorting this area with a tight stop loss. Maybe around previous highs. So if this thing pushes back up to like $183, I would think about shorting it, because what that would do is, one, that would put it right into this resistance zone, setting in a lower high, and it would also be setting up for double bearish divergence on the RSI, as this thing would be pushing up along with the price action. And if it pushed up that high, it would actually be setting in a lower swing high, which would be a very, very bearish thing to see. So if that were to happen, I'd actually be looking in that. This is on the daily, not even, let's go to the 4 hour. So going over to the 4 hour, actually this thing. So if this thing rounds actually right in here, I don't like doing this unless it's in an overbought territory or an oversold territory. But technically speaking, if this does round here, it's another lower high, and it would be pretty bearish. What else was there? I'll tell you what. I want to take a look at something I haven't looked at in a long time. On your current charting, is it likely that we double top around 5,400? I don't think so. I want to be honest. I think if it gets back up into that range, it's going to set a new higher high. So I don't think it double tops. I personally believe that if it gets back up that high, it'll break it. And yeah. So maybe it sets in a lower high, but well, I think if it gets back up that high though, I think it will just set a higher high. But like it's really unique to the situation because technical analysis changes so fast. And that's like one of the biggest things is that like I had someone come to me and they were like, well, you said it was going to do this a month ago. And then I was like, yeah, but did you see like yesterday's video? I was like, a lot changes in TA in a month. Like you can't say because this was what was going to happen a month ago and then this is what's going to happen today. Like the TA changes like every day, sometimes every hour, like, you know. So, Neblio, this is one I want to look at really bad. There's a couple of these guys that I want to look at. Let's go ahead and take a little eyeball at this guy. I need to do some research on what's happening with the Neblio team, to be honest. So I do actually like this a lot. I'm going to be honest. That looks really good. So what I'm looking at here is a very actually really nice support line on the Neblio to BTC daily chart. So what I see is now 1, 2, 3, 4 separate touches, or really 3 separate swing touches on this support line. So not this, if the support line breaks, it could be bad, but it looks like it's bouncing. It's showing quadruple bullish divergence on the RSI. 1, 2, 3, 4 higher swing lows. Maybe this one isn't really confirmed yet, but if this ends here, it's quadruple bullish divergence, and I would imagine it, continues to go up. This actually might be one hell of a trade. And what that does is it shows lower levels of negative momentum coming into this. You can see that on your MACD as well. No bullish divergence on your MACD. Really? Yeah, no, kind of. I mean, I don't know if this can really be bullish. I mean, you have this guy. It's maybe ever so slightly, but it's a lower high, or it's a higher low. So I would say on this is the biggest thing is the RSI on the daily looks absolutely phenomenal. And 2, this support line over here is absolute. You can see that the price of Neblio is, just bouncing off of this area very, very well. You see it. It goes down, it bounces off of it, comes down, bounces off of it, comes down, bounces right off of it, comes back down, bounces right off of it. And so ideally here, you could be looking at potential trade, or I could be looking at potential trade on Neblio. So maybe this is one where I would just want to buy and hold. Maybe I would just want to do a quick trade on this guy so I can just quick trade it for like, maybe 10% or something like that. But if I want to hold Neblio to something like its previous, not even its previous high. Like, let's not even talk about its previous. Let's talk about something reasonable. Let's just talk about the last swing, like really swing high it had. So this would be roughly 425% pushing its previous high, right? 435% pushing its previous high over here. We're not going anything up here. Just, something that we could, let's even lower it more to say it's more reasonable. Let's just lower it in here. So that'd still be 375%, right? I think that's fairly reasonable. We're not saying it's going to go anything astronomical. We're just going to say that it's going to go back up into a median of where it used to be. Potential gain of around 350%. So we're saying that, maybe, or I'm saying that maybe it touches somewhere in this area again. That'd be about 350%. So maybe it doesn't. Maybe the whole project just dies. But if this is going to just go up again, potential gain on this without leverage is 350%, maybe more, maybe less. But this is the kind of thing that I'm looking at. I'm actually really glad that I looked at this. So odds are I probably end up not saying I am, but wow, I always find the best trades on stream. I swear, I can look at trades for like an hour on my computer by myself, but I get on stream and I always get like the best trades on stream. There's like Bitcoin shorts that I've done that I've made like a couple 100% on, like swing trades like this, like it's crazy. So ideally, this is something in a perfect world that I actually really like. And so if I really wanted to play this safe and I didn't want to hold this for long term, what I could do is probably just, if it breaks support, I'd probably just sell it. But this might be one that I'm potentially willing to. I actually really like the setup of this guy. Dedicate half of your live stream to analysis, then questions afterwards, with an ending summary, or was that too obvious? No, I kind of like that, Chris, because I'm trying to really figure out the balance. Because it's easier when I'm over 5,000 subscribers now, which isn't a lot, but I see in the future, as I'm pushing 50 people in the chat room, which we almost hit today, if I'm pushing 50 people all chatting at once, it's hard to go through everyone's questions and comments, which is something I want to do because I want to help people. But I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do. It's going to be, I'll probably just have to take whatever questions I like or whatever questions I think are the best and work with them. I don't know if you guys looked at Bitcoin Cash, but I'm having a lot of fun shorting it. BCH, BTC. Let's go to USD. Whew, a little tired. I'm contemplating a short on Ravencoin with low... I didn't even know you could short Ravencoin. Wait, where can you short Ravencoin at? That's awesome. I would not do it, though. Ravencoin is an absolute monster. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's cooling down. It kind of looks like it's forming a pennant. Originally, I was thinking ascending triangle. So originally, I was thinking ascending triangle, something like this. But this is something I think I talked to Poker Thread about a while ago, is that I don't like how... Well, technically this is possible. Actually, no, that was something completely different. Because I remember one time we talked about an ascending triangle where there was like touches over here, and like we extended the triangle over here because there was like touches on resistance over here. And I said that that's not possible because that's previous to the run. But this one's actually possible. Dang. Especially if it breaks the curios. So if this thing breaks the curios, this thing could really see some upside. Yeah, so I would be careful. Potentially actually get it. What would be nice is if it sets up for like double bearish divergence here like that or something. Where can you short Ravencoin at, stay-at-home dad? So looking at Bitcoin Cash, potential ascending triangle, and maybe even a pennant of sorts here. Because you can see, like, even no matter really how you draw this, you can see that the price is seeing higher lows, lower highs at the same time, which makes me think that it's a pennant of some kind. I don't know, though. I actually kind of like this. I want to leave this on my chart. I want to see if it plays out. Two touches on support, two touches on resistance. Nothing too insane. Not the best of textbook trades, but it definitely has the potential. So if it were to... Oh my gosh. If it were to break out of this thing. Is that a gap down on Bitcoin Cash? It is. Wow. It's not something you see a lot. So I'm looking at resistance. What resistance do we have in this area? So obviously there's like a candle in here, but like it looks pretty parabolic. You know, I think it's safe to assume that this is probably a pretty parabolic candle down. So reasonably, Bitcoin Cash looks like it doesn't have any resistance over in here. So if this guy breaks out, if this guy eventually, breaks out of this area, what is it going to have to contest with besides this previous high rate over in here? What's it going to have to contest with up until say this area, where it has to, you know, start hitting actual resistance. And let me clear this chart a little bit. So up until it starts getting over here and starts testing the bottoms of these guys, that's not really, you know, that's when it's going to actually start hitting resistance. Probably around $400. But arguably, if it can get out of this area, there's really not much stopping it up until about $400. So it's possible, if somehow it can rally the momentum over here, it's possible that it easily moves $100 up. I'm not a fan of Bitcoin Cash saying this. I don't like Bitcoin Cash. So, oh, that looks like a juicy short. There's the divergence. Boom, lower swing high, the thing tanks. What you could be potentially looking for here is a higher swing low, though. Yeah, look at how nice the divergence on the MACD was. Wow. That's nice. I've just been shorting it because if Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin Cash drops and stabilizes, Bitcoin dips and dips too. Well, totally not thinking about a breakout. I mean, on the US dollar, it looks like more like a breakout. On the BTC pairing, it doesn't look like as much. So it definitely looks more like an ascending triangle on the... And over here, so here's the difference. On the Bitcoin, it totally makes sense why it would actually get rejected here. Because you're going over here and you're drawing a line saying that this previous support is now being used as resistance, this whole area over here. You came up, touched this area, got rejected, came up again. It was a really, really smart idea for you to short here. Why? Because it came back up, touched this previous support area, now turned resistance, came back up, got rejected from it again, and tanked. And so now it's seeing some support around the 200 EMA. So, you know, seeing that the 200, well, and maybe even resistance. I'm having a hard time seeing it. But you're seeing that previous support now being turned into resistance. Prime shorting area up in here. Got rejected, came back down. And on the Bitcoin pairing, it actually, on the Satoshi pairing, it doesn't look as good. On the US dollar pairing, it looks a lot better. So maybe you can argue that the two move in counteractive, because we've seen that happen in the altcoins recently, where the US dollar pairing goes up and the BTC pairing goes down because Bitcoin moves so fast upwards. And it basically screws up the whole Satoshi value. That was the fork when Coinbase stopped trading it. Oh, okay. Well, and my inexperience in crypto comes through. I've only made 3 trades in my life. Can't short it anywhere. Just looking at Raven recently, and the price action seems to do a big drop. Excuse my new. Oh, okay, no. So no worries, man. I totally understand. I don't think you can short Raven coin, unfortunately. You can only short some of the bigger coins. So like Bitcoin Cash, XRP, Bitcoin, Cardano, Ethereum, Tron. I think that's about it. Ethereum Classic on, and then some other cool coins on Kraken. Kraken offers shorting too. But yeah. So takeaways from the stream. Okay, hold on a second. Actually, I just noticed something. So let's keep this guy there. Not to say that this is an ascending triangle. Just to keep this there to know where resistance is. I kind of like that support. 1, 2, almost 3 separate swing low touch. Oh, XRP is the one thing I have to look at. That thing's doing well, dude. I like it. Came back up for a lower high, though, so it's actually getting touched by the same resistance line. Man, there's so many things that I want to place order. I've just placed a massive pundy order. So, like, a lot of my, like, extra... there's things that I want to buy. So if XRP gets down to support, I want to buy it. I want to buy more. And if there's also a couple other trades I want to make. So XRP is still hovering around the EMAs. And so, on the daily, what's this guy doing? Bouncing off the 50 EMA daily. Sorry guys, I'm a little tired. It's been a while. We've been streaming for almost 2 hours. Wow. XRP BTC. Oh, this is the one that we were talking about. Yeah, this was super unfortunate. We talked about this last live stream about why this happened. Death cross on the 1 day on XRP. Really, really sad to see. Super unfortunate. Only reason why this happened, I mean, the Satoshi value is just getting killed. US dollar value isn't bad, but like the Satoshi value is just getting murdered right now. And the whole reason why this happened, it was actually primed for a massive breakout, but because of Bitcoin spiking and tanking the Satoshi value, it just so happened to push this thing over the edge. And now the technicals are all messed up on XRP. What a shame. So let's go back to Bitcoin here. Actually, another thing I want to look at before we get... What's Bitcoin doing right now? It's not doing anything. I want to look at Tron and Verge. And those are... Actually, I don't want to look at Verge. I don't like Verge. I used to enjoy trading Verge, but not anymore. Dogecoin Dark. Yeah, look at that support area just working out. So with Tron, I'm looking for any kind of significant support. Like that. That's what I'm looking at. I like it. Alright, that's a good support line to have. So basically what this does is, if I'm looking at this for swing trading purposes, I'm basically trying to find... Sorry guys, I'm slouched down, I'm sorry. I'm basically looking for potential swing trades over here. So what I can do is I can go over here and look at when it's going to be actually golden. It actually just golden crossed on the daily. And now it's using it as support, using the EMAs as support. So let's actually go ahead and break this down, because this is actually really cool. So what just happened is you see over here massive spike, golden cross on daily chart. And so it's not Bitcoin. It's not like the golden cross is as significant. I would still say it's pretty significant that you're having a golden cross on daily on Tron right now. And then it's actually using the EMAs as support now. So it golden crossed and now used them as support. So maybe if it gets anywhere around this area again, like the lower, mid to lower 2 cents, I might actually buy some. Dang, there's so many things I want to buy. So, and the reason why is because if it's at support, I can set a tight stop loss right underneath. If it breaks through, I have a stop loss. But for the most part, I'd probably be looking to accumulate and buy this at the best area of value, which would be at support, and then look to hopefully swing this thing high. Do you guys? How much did Tron go to? Jeez, 30-something cents. Oh my gosh, there's freaking tons of money to be made. Excuse me, no worries, man. Gotcha, thanks, I'm learning. Yeah, no problem, man. Feel free to ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question in technical analysis. I mean, and the only stupid thing that we've come across tonight was the guy saying, and I'm sorry, but it was stupid, the guy saying that XRP can hit $1 million. It is statistically not possible. It's numerically, there is not enough money in the world. That was the only thing that was stupid. And then him saying I'm an idiot for thinking that it can't. Like, that was the only stupid thing tonight. Because we'd have to multiply the world's money supply by like 10 times. Just so XRP just so XRP can get to $1 million. It's just, you know, that's just silly. It's basically just shilling. The percentage on Bitcoin Cash and BTC is pretty juicy, but so is the risk. Yeah, I mean, I'm just being patient in trading. I explained why earlier. I'm not trying to trade this range. I'll just wait. Actually, even futures is closed till Tuesday, so I'm pretty bored right now. That's why I'm looking at all these swing trades. Did you exchange any Pundi for FX token? What is... I don't even know what FX is. Honestly, it's the contrary. What is FX? Is it Fuse or Flexicoin? Don't hate it, don't date it, just trade it. Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's a great saying. You know, whatever makes me money, I like. FX is Pundy's side project. No, I haven't actually. I didn't even know about it, to be honest. Possible inverse head and shoulders on Tron. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Honestly, you're right. It's kind of sloppy, but I think it's definitely there. So let's talk about this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it'd be something like this guy. So yeah, it's very possible. And I mean, the measured move of this would be big. Like, double my money kind of big. Well, close to it at least. Yeah. I kind of like this. And it kind of goes hand in hand with what's happening over here. Golden cross, inverse head and shoulders, great support line, bouncing off of it. Only thing is it just formed a lower high, but, you know, that's just because of a wick. I don't think that's too big of a deal yet. That could be kind of sucky. What if? What if, dude? I mean, even the measured move for that to the upside would be big. Are you going to participate on the launch pad on the 24th? Yeah, I might. I honestly, I probably should. But, I don't know. It depends how busy I am. When's the 24th? I might be, dude. I'll probably be trading futures. It depends what time it is, to be honest. I pretty much trade futures from 9:30 to like 1 p.m. every weekday, and then I do crypto either before or after it. Maybe better on a higher time frame. Yeah, I mean, we're on the 1 day right now. We can look at it on the 3 day. You can probably see it just as well. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look bad. I'm pretty hard on head and shoulders. I'm very judgmental on them, and this is actually one that I'll tolerate. I'm very, very strict on my head and shoulders patterns. Jeez, it's almost 11 o'clock. Jeez. So, doesn't look as bad. I actually need to be writing down some of this stuff, because there's a lot of things I looked at tonight that I need to go over after stream. Okay. Thanks for your time, dude. Much appreciated. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to actually go ahead and start rounding off the stream here. Obviously, it's been dying out. We've kind of just been chatting. But that's pretty much it for the night. I think some of the biggest takeaways... Yeah, we had a lot of takeaways. But we talked a lot of good things about altcoins and about like concept and conceptual thinking about like what's happening in cryptocurrency. So thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and round this off. It's been almost 2 hours now, so I'm gonna go get some rest. I'm gonna go chill out and get some food as well. Excuse me. I appreciate all you guys coming in here. It helps out a lot. If you guys do like the channel, hit the like button first of all. Hit the subscribe button second. If you guys want to join the community, I have a link in the description down below, completely free. It's called Discord. You guys can join the Discord. It's like where my community resides. We talk about a whole bunch of stuff, crypto related in there. And it's really cool, so it's completely free. If you guys want to take that the step further, the way to do that is to go to the Patreon. It's pretty much like my mentorship thing. Basically, you click the link in the description that says Patreon, and there you have all the information about what that access, how much it costs. It's $40 a month. I think it's a really cool deal, and I think it's fairly cheap. So if you're interested in that, click it. If not, I totally understand. I appreciate all of you guys for coming by here. Singard says 4.5 or $4.50 here. Just greedy of my BTC short. 4.5. What do you mean, Singard? So yeah, if you guys aren't in the Discord, I'd recommend joining. It's pretty cool. The time. For the time. The time. Just greedy on my BTC. 450 on the time. What do you mean 450? Just greedy on my BTC short. I'm not sure what you mean. For the info. Oh, okay, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I have some questions over here for Patreons. If anyone's interested, you can buy one. On Binance, I've seen you placing your short and it got filled. Yep, not realistic, but I know I'm mostly. Side to jump on the bandwagon. Sorry, I was reading something. I don't know. I had a bunch of questions. Anyway, sorry. The clock. It's 4:50. Oh, okay. So my clock is not 4:50, unfortunately. But okay. I see what you're saying. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Oh, it's 4:50 where you are, and you're just greedy on your Bitcoin short. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm not entering any trades in here. It is a risky zone. I'll just wait it out, and I'll take an easier trade where I don't even have to worry about losing, taking gamble. I don't know. If I was already in a short, I don't know. It depends where I entered, honestly. Time will tell. Thanks for the live stream. Some really good traders in Discord. Great for learning. Yeah, I completely agree, dude. It's like the best free resources, live streams in Discord. Got a 50x in at 53.38. Yeah. That would well, it's moving down right now. What is that? How much percent is that? Closing, not going to bed. See ya. Yeah, no worries, man. I mean, I would at least probably set like a stop and profit in. I mean, maybe it does just break down. I don't know. So anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and tune off here. I appreciate you guys all coming by, but I'm going to go ahead and end this, and I'm going to go ahead and get myself, it's currently 11 p.m. or 22 hours where I live, so I'm going to go get some rest. I'll catch you guys later. I appreciate all you guys for coming by, and I'll probably have a video coming out tomorrow, so there's going to be that as well. So see you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.